Hi, Marc here with RawNutrition.com. In this video, I'll be juicing with 4 different juicers, juicing cucumbers. So I have 2 pounds of cucumbers, been pre-cut and pre-weighed, ready for juicing. So I've got 4 different types of juicers. I have a twin gear juicer. This is a Super Angel. This is model 7500 or the Super Angel Pro in the US. The Omega NC 800. This one here is a single auger masticating type juicer. I have the Omega VSJ 843, so upright, single auger masticating juicer. And then a Breville model here, 800, a Centrifuge juicer, high speed juicer. So basically, this one here turns at 82 revolutions, 80 revolutions per minute, 43 revolutions per minute, and this one is 10,000 revolutions per minute. So basically, really 4 different types, and they all work very differently. So with soft fibrous vegetables like this, a lot of juicers do tend to struggle. It's always, I find, best to mix things like carrot and mix with the celery or cucumber. Varying while you're juicing helps that pulp to get carried out. So if you're mono juicing like this with a cucumber, you're going to find some deficiencies with the juicer, or some where it's lacking, it's really having trouble. So either you got to go more slowly, use a reverse function occasionally, just being a little more careful as you're juicing to be able to juice it, because you will start to see things backing up. So I'll just start with the Super Angel right away, this one here on my right, and we'll see how it goes. So the Super Angel is the only complete stainless steel juicer available on the market. So everything that the food touches is all stainless steel, so there are absolutely no plastic parts. And it's also the slowest twin gear juicer at 82 revolutions per minute. So it's actually doing pretty well. I'm not getting any backing up. I'm going slowly, just feeding one piece at a time. The juice twin gear juicer, the Super Angel, the Angel 7500, is also the juicer with the largest gears, and the one I find that really breaks down the pulp and gets the most juice out. In something soft like this, it might not be as easy to see the difference with the pulp. That cucumber kind of folded in there was a little harder to push. So basically cut them all in spears to make them the easiest to put into all these juicers. The only juicer on the table with a wide mouth is the Breville juicer. I'm starting to see a little bit of backing up, so I'm just going to go a little more slowly. Now the 7500 model here, the Pro model, has auto reverse, so if the juicer senses anything getting hot, it will automatically reverse to protect the motor and the gears. So I've only just recently started using the Super Angel. I had used one many years ago. And I tend to focus on the other juicers. Definitely an expensive juicer, not necessarily accessible to everyone, but it's really the only option when you want something that's completely plastic free. Definitely something that's very durable. The workmanship on here is very nice. It's a 304 type stainless steel, food grade stainless steel. You also have a model 8500, which is a surgical stainless steel. So I didn't have much backing up, just a little bit of soft fiber left here in the twin gear in the feed chute. I'm just going to push that in slowly. It looks like it's really working itself out on its own. And I can use the reverse function, and then go forward, just kind of work out whatever's left in here. That's it. Everything's gone right through. So this went really well. So the Super Angel does have a fan that keeps running after you're done juicing. to cool the motor, so you can hear it right now. It'll shut off on its own. So I should have shown you these parts, the gears, but you can check my single video on the Super Angel where I'm showing the parts more closely. I will show you the parts on the next one just so you see the difference between the juicers. So with a single auger juicer, instead of the two gears turning together to squish, it's really just one auger pushing everything into this screen, this cone-shaped screen, and squeezing the juice out here and here. So again, this juicer turns at 80 revolutions per minute. The latest horizontal masticating juicer from Omega, the NC800, is the same as the NC800R, which is red, and then there's NC900C, which is chrome. So they're basically all the same juicer, just the color that changes. It does have an adjust knob. I'm going to tighten that up to 5 all the way tight, so it's applying some pressure on the end here, on the end cap, on the end of the auger where there's a little silicone ring, and that'll retain the most pulp inside to squeeze out the most juice. So again, go slowly with this to make sure I do not overfeed, because I don't want anything backing out. So there's not much fiber in this. It definitely does help when you leave the skin on. If you're reducing the cucumbers without the skin, you may find some more backing up. Going pretty well. Just taking it up again, as I mentioned, you gotta kind of go slow. Just let the auger take it up, carry it through, and then add some more. I will be doing a comparison of the yield with the 4 juicers, exactly how much we're getting from each one, because I did pre-measure each bowl having exactly 2 pounds of pre-cut cucumber. Doing a little backing out, so I'm going to ease up. Put too much in, let it work out. Did feel a little easier with the Super Angel. It was going in and processing it more quickly. Here it's kind of sometimes just staying on the top. It takes more to push it down. It's feeling like a bit more of pulp hanging around the auger. Super Angel, the gears are kind of sharp, so they do kind of shave down the produce. I did find it a little easier to feed. Because these horizontal type juicers always require you to push down, whereas these are definitely things will go in through gravity. You just fall in and get taken up by the auger. So do a little reverse forward, try to work out what's left here. It's not much, but there's definitely nothing to carry it through. So it's just kind of staying there. If you could take some pulp, try to add more pulp to push that out. But just for the comparison here, I'll leave it as is. Same thing with the Super Angel. Just leave that as is, it's not working itself out. But anyways, that's the end. Since I don't have another piece to push through, it's not coming out. Next I'll move to the VSJ 843. So these vertical type masticating auger, so everything is taken in, cut up with these blades on the auger, and it comes around, the pulp comes around here and is squished through the screen. As you have the screen, so very tight spacing. These are definitely the newest design from Omega. The space between the auger and screen is very tight, so it goes in and squeezes out the most juice. Also, I said Omega VSJ all along, and I'm sorry, this is actually the Hurom Elite. So basically the two juicers are made by the same manufacturer. They are, as far as juicing parts, are identical except for the pulp control lever. So that's why I tend to call it the VSJ, and it's actually the Hurom. So you do have the pulp control lever, and I will have that pushed in all the way to retain the most pulp. So I'm sorry about calling this one the Omega all this time, but it is the VSJ 843, and actually you can interchange the parts between the two. So the yield is pretty much the same, though in comparisons I have found the Hurom to produce a little more juice just because it does apply more pressure on the pulp outlet, retaining more pulp inside and getting the most juice out. So let's start juicing with the Hurom Elite. So these are self-feeding. I should hardly have to use the pusher. So whether you're using the Omega or, in this case, the Hurom, feeding is pretty much the same. The feed chute's actually a little smaller on the Hurom. They've got these little tabs here reducing the size, but as I had cut everything pretty much. I did have my juice cap closed. I'm going to leave that open. So definitely no pushing, just occasional. I've got a little piece of cucumber stuck on its side there. But now I may need to use the pusher until it gets taken up. Definitely easier to use in that sense, not having to push things in. Just occasionally. I am seeing a little bit of pulp on top there, so I want to make sure not to overfeed. Generally, if you just let the juicer process, you won't be overfeeding. You really just put in one piece at a time. Sometimes they do fall on their side, the cucumbers, so I have to finish them off, pushing them the rest of the way down. Again, this is the slowest turning vertical juicer at 43 revolutions per minute. And all of these are nice to use, nice and quiet juicers. There's just a little bit of pulp left on the top here. Just trying to push that through. So this is the spurt that you heard. It really didn't put out much pulp. Most of it has been getting squeezed. And I imagine most of the pulp that you're seeing in these bowls here, for this one here, is actually staying inside around the auger because there's nothing really to carry it through. So so I will open them up after we can look inside. Last juicer to do is the Breville 800. Okay, so with the Breville 800, it's a fast juicer and it's also very loud. So I will just process this without any talking. Okay, so first off, we'll do the comparison on the yield, the amount of juice we got from each juicer. There we have our Super Angel Juicer. Omega NC 800. And the Hurom Elite HH, which I mentioned is similar to the BSJ from Omega, the BSJ 843. Now in pouring these are very well filtered. I saw a little bit of chunks here. This one I'm seeing actually skins and seeds. So it's not as filtered as the one with the Super Angel. And now for the Breville. Okay, so just at a quick glance, our clear winner is the Super Angel Juicer. As I mentioned, I have model 7500, or the Pro in the US, so this one is definitely coming in 24 ounces. I'll just put that on the table and confirm that. A little more like 24.5 ounces of juice from 2 pounds of cucumber. Our NC800 is our clear loser in this one, because it's barely at 17, 18 ounces at most. Well, it's just pretty, about 19 and a half, so almost 20 ounces. And here I said we had 25 ounces. And those are 6, so actually it's 26 ounces. And I'm sorry for this, they're not very easy to read. So it's 26 ounces. Back over here, we just read about the 20 ounces. So definitely this one here is also about 20 ounces, with the little more than 20, about 22. And with the Breville, it's a little difficult. You can see the separation. If I just stay a little bit under the foam, I'm looking about 20 ounces also. This one here I can see right through. There's a lot of pulp and a lot of fiber floating around skin, so the BSJ 843 let a lot of that through. Our clearest, our most homogeneous juice is really with the Angel Juicer. And then this one is our lowest yield, also has lots of seeds. It's the one that seems to have the most pulp in the bowl. That seems to be the most juicy. I haven't opened the back of this yet. So definitely hands down as far as yield, the Super Angel Model 7500 had definitely the best yield. So I'm going to put these aside, the juices, and we're going to look inside what each one left as far as pulp, what's around the auger, and so on. So I'll put these bowls aside. The Super Angel was also the one I found the easiest to push out of these three that you do have to push, although this one didn't have to push too often. So let's start with the Breville juicer first. And look inside. So Centrifuge juicer, and I didn't show you how that one worked. I think most people know that. So you got the blade in the center that's spinning and pushes everything out through the screen. So with the Centrifuge juicer, we do have some clumpy pulp here all around. I'm trying to scoop some of this out. Everything else goes into the recipient, oops, at the back. So this is generally the problem we see with the Centrifuge juicer, are lots of vegetable pieces that are not getting juiced. Everything feels very moist. Everything is very moist, very sticky, and lots of chunks. But still get a decent amount of yield, considering. Now with our Hurom Elite, same as the VSJ, so just the very little pulp came out here. Looks like all the pulp. So if you were juicing a lot of cucumber, you may have to stop at some point and open up your juicer because it's just got no fiber to carry it through unless you mixed it with something else. So here we got pretty juicy looking pulp, very similar looking to that, and I will do the squeeze tests after I get all the pulp out. So lots of pulp stays around the auger because it can't get carried through. Just drop the auger in here, and then a little bit around the screen inside. We even have a few pieces that's just kind of stayed on the top. It wouldn't go in. There's nothing to carry it through. Alright, so let's look inside the Omega. There's our pulp. Very wet. And I would expect that anyways from cucumber. And let's look around our augers. As I mentioned, this one too had some fiber sticking in, nothing else to carry it through. So there you're seeing some of that pulp staying in there. And we'll compare what we have with the Super Angel. It's definitely the one that has the least amount of pulp out of all three. So look inside and we'll see what's left inside here. Okay, a little bit of trouble getting that out. Okay, so in here, well, there's really nothing, just a little bit of fiber inside the housing. This is pretty messy, but we're getting through it. So I'll show you the gears once I got the fiber off of them. As I mentioned, these are two gears. They turn towards each other, squeeze to extract the juice. So if I shave the fiber down, push it through, and then through here, the helical gears, this does the rest of the juicing. So definitely, obviously, the one with the most yield has the least pulp here. And that pulp, it is still a bit juicy because it is cucumber, it's not like other vegetables, so you can squeeze out a little bit of juice. These pulps here are really moist. It's just full of juice. Same thing with the VSJ. We do have more chunks. Piece of chunk and a lot of larger skin pieces didn't break it down as much. The Super Angel really broke that down and juicy. This here, well, the fiber is very mushed, like really mushed down. Well, definitely a lot of juice in there, but very mushy pulp and very messy demonstration here. Give you an idea of the results of what you have to clean up after. Hands down in this demonstration, juicing exclusively cucumbers, the Super Angel really beat out the other juicers. Second best, I guess, would fall into this category here, the single auger juicer. Either the Omega NC800 or the VSJ 843 Omega, in this case here the Hurom Elite. So they did pretty well. And while our Breville juicer, as unfortunately in most of my demonstrations, it's always doing this, lots of leftover fiber, leftover pieces of vegetables that just didn't get processed. So that's the unfortunate thing with the Centrifuge. The only advantage is the high speed, works great with hard vegetables like beets and carrots, but everything else, not very good. Well, again, this is Marc with RawNutrition.com. Be sure to check us out online and subscribe to our videos here on YouTube for more product demonstrations.